What's going on, you rogues, rebels, and renegades? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Rogue Country Podcast, episode 69, with the one and only Jesse Daniel. You know we love Jesse Daniel. We are bringing him over for his first ever UK tour. We get into that, but first, a word from our sponsor. Today we are brought to you by Pick Print Screen Printing. They're a Liverpool-based family-run hand screen printing company, and I love these guys. They do my t-shirts, they do the Rogue Country t-shirts, they do Josh Bettis' t-shirts. So if you need band merch, workwear, business uniforms, club or sports team wears, or apparel lines, please get in touch with them. They use eco-friendly inks. It's all done by hand, and they're just an incredible company to work with. I love them, and you should go support them. So keep it rogue and use Pick Print Screen Printing in Liverpool. And if you want to keep it rogue, we are bringing you the best country and root shows in the UK. Of course, we have the mighty Jesse Daniel playing London on the 14th of August, Swansea on the 15th of August, and Birkenhead on the 16th of August. London is completely sold out. Birkenhead is half sold out. Swansea is selling well. You do not want to miss these. Also in August, we are bringing the incredible Tommy Prine to the Swinging Arm in Birkenhead on the 30th of August, and we aren't stopping there. You know we're doing the Hank 100 shows in September. On September 17th, on the Sunday, we are doing an all-dayer at the Swinging Arm in Birkenhead, and we are doing an amazing event at the Bunkhouse in Swansea, both on the same day. Tickets are available for the Swansea show right now in our link tree. And we are not stopping there, guys. We are so proud to be bringing the local honeys to Future Yard Birkenhead on the 9th of November. And you can get tickets for that now. Again, they are all through our link tree. You can link it through the podcast, find the tickets, and support incredible country music. But we are not selfish. We want to share the love. We want to share the incredible gigs that are happening that we don't have a hand in, but we love to see them happening. Rustic Stomp Festival is happening on the 14th to the 16th of July. The lineup is sick. You do not want to miss it. Pat Reedy is still traveling around Europe, and in the UK, he is playing What's Cooking in London on the 21st, Leeds on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd of June, this is the best lineup, in my opinion, that Pat's going to be playing on. The Underground in Bradford. He's playing there with Chris Dover and Jody Davis. They are lovely people. That's going to be an incredible gig, so make sure you get your tickets. Bernard Band opening for Reverend Payton's Big Damn Band on the 18th of July in Leeds. There is so much amazing country music happening, and it's because of you people listening and supporting and buying tickets that it all gets to happen. So thank you. Of course, we aren't stopping there in the Rogue Country world. If you want to support us, you can buy our t-shirts or our mugs at our Bandcamp. Again, it's all linked through the podcast, so you can look stylish and support independent country music while you're at it. Or while you're having your favorite coffee or your favorite cup of tea, you can support Rogue Country and have a Rogue Country mug. Isn't that the good stuff? But without further ado, let's get down to it. This has been a podcast I've wanted to happen for ages. I still can't believe we're getting to work with Jesse Daniel on his first ever UK tour. That is a phenomenal thing that we get to be a part of, and we're just so happy to be bringing him to the UK. We get into that, we get into the Sopranos, we get into songwriting, we get into his independent label, Die True Records. This is a phenomenal chat, and I'm so happy that I got to chat to Jesse before he comes over in August, and I cannot wait to meet him in the flesh with Jody, his songwriting partner. It's going to be epic. So, without further ado, this is episode 69 of the Rogue Country Podcast with Mike West and Jesse Daniel. Cool. So, we're rolling, and thanks so much for making the time today. It's fitting. I expected greenery to be behind you for some reason, just to have that luscious forest behind you.
Yeah, I thought I'd go outside for this one. Hopefully it's not too loud out there. We've got a lot of trucks driving by right now.
Not too bad. So how's the shows lately been treating you? You were in Nashville the other day?
Yeah, just just a few days ago we were in Nashville. And they've been really good, man. Nashville was crazy. We had Dennis Quaid come out to the show. Kind of blew my mind. The shows have been awesome. You know, we did the West Coast this year, and that's where I'm from. So getting back there to play those shows were awesome. We did the Midwest this year. And then kind of just did, Nashville, Kentucky, Indiana. And we're just gearing up for all kinds of stuff, man. The shows have been great.
Oh, amazing. And with kind of West Coast, East Coast, South, obviously being from California, do you find there's much of a difference between like the country crowds as you play across the country?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a big difference, like places like Texas are very specific. Like they have their own demographic of people. California also has its own demographic. A lot of people don't know, but California is very rural, in a lot of
Yeah.
places, a lot of farming, a lot of rodeo, and there's a lot of country people in California. So in a way, they're similar, but there's kind of minute differences every place you go, and I love it. I just love, meeting different kinds of people and touring all around. So that's kind of one of the cool things about what we do is we get to meet a lot of different kinds of people and see
Mm.
different places. So
No, awesome. And with those like minute differences, were they in the factor when you recorded your live album at the Catalyst? Was that always where you wanted to record, or did you have like, I wanted to do it in Texas? Did you have like plan Bs or Cs maybe that you were thinking of, and what kind of came together?
it was always the Catalyst, I think, that I wanted to do
Yeah.
just because that's where I'm from,
Mm,
it's Santa Cruz, California, that area. And those people kind of really helped lift me up early in my career to help us get to the point we're at now. And that was kind of my springing board
mm,
to the rest of the country. They built me up, they came to those shows and supported me over the years to the point where we were able to do things like make that live record. And so it was kind of a no brainer. I wanted to definitely do it at the Catalyst because, those are my hometown people.
yeah. No, amazing. And like hearing them singing back, even on the first track of Tar Snakes, it's just goosebumps. So you definitely made the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very glad we did that. It was incredible, man.
And was that just basically recorded over one night? Because I know, I'm a huge Kiss fan, and Kiss's live albums aren't really live albums in any sense. It's, copy
Sure.
and pasted from like 5 different shows. Was it all just recorded at the one set for yourself? And, what happens, happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, man. We had to kind of narrow down 12 songs for the live record from the whole set because we played, I think, closer to, 25 or 30
Mm,
songs. But it was hard, to listen back and kind of narrow down which ones you wanted. There was some feedback on some of them, and some of the songs were, better than others and whatnot. But
mm,
it was essentially exactly how we played it is how you hear
yeah.
it. There wasn't no funny business
No.
going on. Yeah.
No, because I remember, I think it was like the first Kiss album, Kiss Alive, and they talk about how they added crowd like cheers in
Oh
between
yeah.
it and stuff.
People
And
do that.
yeah, and they fucked with guitar solos and stuff. And it shatters the illusion a bit when you grow up like loving these bands. But
Right.
from everything I could hear of yours, it sounds so natural and so ready to go. You really did such a fucking stellar job of capturing a live sound for you guys.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. All of those crowd sounds are all 100% real,
Yeah.
And so that was, yeah, couldn't have thought of a better place to do it. I'm glad it turned out the way it did.
And were there any live albums that like you were kind of had as like touchstones when you were thinking about recording this, or any favorite live albums that you remember, just adoring as like a music fan, and it kind of informed this album?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see, as far as live albums go, I really love, the live albums that Buck Owens
Mm,
had done, those ones are great. There's one where I can't remember. I think it's just Buck Owens live at the Nugget
mm,
Casino. And that record's really great. The Carnegie Hall record is great. Um, there's some pretty incredible Buck and Merle, sets that they
mm,
captured. And what inspired me with those is that they were kind of untouched, like all mistakes and everything. Like it was the way that it was. And they were such amazing musicians that they just, turned out incredible.
yeah.
So really, those were kind of the two guys that really inspired me the most with the live record.
No, that's so cool. And with Buck Owens and Mel and stuff, I know I read that like a neighbor introduced you to Buck Owens a long time ago. What was it about Buck and then about Mel that kind of really hooked you in? Because obviously they're huge for a reason, they're legends for a reason, but each person seems to have like an individual hook into why they actually love them. It varies so much from person to person.
Yeah, I'd say with Merle Haggard, it was first the fact that I loved his music, and he's just such an incredible songwriter. He has an incredible voice. He was kind of the whole package to me. Like
Mm.
he had it all. He had that star quality as well as being, an incredible performer, songwriter, singer. And and then when I learned that he was also from California, he's from my home state, and he kind of represented that. He was a guy that we could be proud of. You know what I
Mm.
mean? He kind
Yeah.
of represented, especially in a time when a lot of the rest of our country is divided and people talk bad about California, for various reasons. Um, so that made me proud. I was like, here's this guy making good country music from my home state. And I also felt the same way about Buck Owens, but I love Buck's music because of a lot of the instrumental factors, like the
Mm.
guitar. You can't find twangier, drier, just barroom music than some of the early Buck Owens stuff. And him and Don Rich were,
Yeah.
huge influences on me as far as like my guitar playing and all that.
Mm. And was that because I know you kind of grew up or you were into punk music as a kid? What
Mhm.
did you used to play guitar in punk bands and things?
I did, yeah. I played both guitar and drums, mostly drums. That was my first instrument, was playing the drums, and played in a lot of different punk bands doing that. And then I played guitar in a couple different bands as well.
Mm.
And I love that music, punk rock music. I think that there's a lot of similarities between country and punk rock.
Yeah.
Being that they're both honest forms of music. They're really honest. They're kind of emotive. There's usually an emotional theme that goes
Yeah.
along with a song or a country song. And sonically they're a little different. One is distorted and fast, and the other can usually be a little bit more cleaned up. But I just think there's a whole lot of similarity with the two. So
Mm. No, definitely like three chords and the truth applies to both, and there's such
exactly,
pure expressions of what's happening to someone at that time.
yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth, man.
Mm. But switching from drums to guitar, was Buck Owens and Don Rich, was that an influence in that transition, or did that come later? And because I know you play like Fender acoustics and Fender guitars, and obviously Don Rich and Buck, famously played those as well. Were they driving forces in that style?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'd say them, and also my dad is a musician
Mm.
also, and he always played Fender guitars. And so kind of just growing up in California also, Fender is a California company, so
Mm.
that's kind of like the guitars that everybody plays out there, and they're kind of synonymous with country music, the Telecaster,
Yeah.
everybody, all the country guys play them. And so it's kind of a natural choice. But in the playing, uh, I grew up kind of learning blues scales, stuff like that. And then as I got more and more into country in my teen years, kind of just naturally went in the country direction.
Mm.
It's a little bit of a hillbilly mix up of all different kinds of music.
Yeah, well, that's the best thing. And what I really respect about you is, you say you play my kind of country. And I think, you know, people can interpret country music to mean so many different things. It's a widespread in genre, but you
Oh
really
yeah.
plant your flag and make such a unique sound while still paying homage and tribute to what's come before. It's a really delicate balance that you've struck that. And I think that's why a lot of people respect what you do.
Oh, thank you, man. That means a lot. Appreciate that.
No, but with kind of fusing those, I know Billy Joe Shaver was a big influence on you, and you have such incredible story songs like Clayton Was a Cowboy or Champion. Outside of kind of country music, do you have like literary influences that have kind of inspired those, or even movies and TV that have, because there's so many of your songs that could be made into, books or comics or films or TV. Do you have that like sensibility and influence?
Yeah, a little bit. I grew up reading a lot. Um, I read all the books that they kind of require you to read in school.
Mm.
I really enjoyed reading as a kid. I remember reading like murder mystery stories when I was a kid a lot. We found a big stack of, can't remember if it was Hardy Boys or some other like old school kind of mystery duo type books. And I used to just kind of devour those things and read those. Um, I loved books like, To Kill a Mockingbird, kind of all the classics and whatnot. And Films also, I love movies, shows. I love anything with a good story, and I think that stuff all kind of has helped to form the way that I write songs.
Mm.
As well as listening to guys like you said, Billy Joe Shaver and Tom T. Hall and Merle Haggard. All
Yeah.
those guys are great storytellers. So,
Have there been any recent films or TV shows that have not necessarily inspired you, but really grabbed you lately?
man, I'm a late bloomer with this one, but I've been getting into The Sopranos,
Oh.
watching that show recently. And my dad and my brother are both really into mafia movies. They
Mm.
love all that Goodfellas and Godfather. And so I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this. I'll give it a try.
So,
And it is an incredible show. To anybody who hasn't seen it yet, what I think like 20, 25 years later,
yeah.
it's still a good show. You should check it out.
So this is your first time watching The Sopranos.
First time ever. Yeah.
Have you finished it yet, or are you still going through it?
No, we're about halfway through, I think.
What a treat. I only watched it for the first time a few years ago. I've got it on
Oh,
Blu-ray,
yeah.
and I keep seeing like Sopranos memes pop up lately, and I'm like, I need to rewatch this fucking thing because it's so good.
It is. It's incredible. Those are the types of shows and movies that I like that really develop a character,
Yeah.
and you get to know those people. And that's kind of similar in songwriting for me. Like those are the songs that I like is, the descriptive things that they can fit into 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
This intricate story, that's a crazy skill to be able to do. And I'm always trying to get better and perfect that as much as I can.
Well, with obviously that brings me on. I was going to ask about character development because obviously Sopranos had 6 seasons to kind of develop Tony Soprano. You had 3 minutes to develop Champion or Clayton. When you're writing one of those stories, do you already have the person envisioned in your head and you're like, I need to describe X or Y in the first like line or two to really get people to care about this? Because you don't have the 6 seasons to have someone fall in love with a character. You've got 15 seconds really if you don't want someone to like not pay attention.
Yeah. That is kind of a tricky thing with songwriting. You've got to get people's attention off the bat. And I think, one thing that I try to do with my music is, because I co-produce everything I've ever done. I write all of the riffs, all of the guitar parts, down to like what the steel guitar does. I kind of have my vision for it, and I can't always articulate it myself, but like I'll show the people how to play it basically. And I try to make whatever kind of music is going on in the very beginning, whatever kind of instrumentals, I try to have it be really melody driven and kind of tie into what the hook of the song is. And I feel like that's whenever I'm listening to country music, if there's a really cool, simple lick in the beginning of the song that imitates what the chorus sounds like, that kind of draws me in. And I think it always has for people. That's kind of a little secret. And so I just try to make things interesting and, musically to back up what the story is. And that's kind of, I think, the best that I could describe kind of what I do with that.
No, definitely. And with kind of co-producing, there's such an intricacy to that type of thing. Do you have any like advice, or do you have, when you go in, it's like you've got this thing that you're trying to relate to people, but do you have sounds that you're like, we need to hit this and we need to leave that at the door? Do you have that like as an overarching theme, or do you go album by album for that kind of vibe?
I've got kind of both. For every album, it's obviously different. You try not to make the same album twice, but I've definitely got my style, and the way that I like things to sound. And it's taken years to kind of develop that, playing live and making records, to kind of get all of those influences and kind of project them outward and have it be authentically, myself. Because I feel like, in the beginning, every artist is just kind of emulating what they love, and what they grew up listening to and who they want to be. And so, when we make records now, I try to, like you said, have kind of an overarching, like, general style and theme, that we go for. That is my
Mm,
kind of country,
yeah.
But yeah, every album's got its own heartbeat and soul and all that.
No, awesome. And I assume the next record's a mafia murder mystery,
That's it, exactly. It's
like
gonna
a
be about
concept.
Sopranos. Yeah, man, don't tempt me. That's a good idea. That is a good idea.
With him playing live, obviously you've been touring around America. You're coming over to Europe for July and August. Have you played over in Europe and the UK before?
No, I've never been to Europe, so I've always wanted to go. I'm really looking forward to getting over there, and I've heard our London show is sold out already, which
It
is
is.
pretty incredible. I can't even believe that. So yeah, I'm really thankful to the people that have got tickets, and I can't wait to get over there.
And
Gonna
with
be a
it,
lot.
yeah. And with it being a duo show as opposed to a full band for the UK, is
Mhm.
that something you kind of factor in with Jody and you guys talk about compared to, the live at the Catalyst experience and even in Europe you're playing with a band? Do you have kind of a game plan or an idea of how you want to orchestrate the set in a way for when you come over and do these three shows?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. We always try to kind of tailor the set to whatever uh, setting it is. Like if we're doing a solo setting or a duo or a trio, I try to fit more of the songwriter kind
Mm.
of story songs in there. And I like to do that too with the band, but I try to fit more, a little bit more bangers, I guess, as the kids say, the real hard hitting tunes into a full band set, so that I get to let the band show off a little bit
Mm.
and put on an energetic show. So it's cool. We're going to get to do a little bit of both in Europe.
Mm.
We'll do some full band stuff, and then I think all the UK dates are duo.
Mm-hmm.
But we will be back with the full band.
No, amazing. And with coming over to Europe and the UK for the first time, do you have any kind of hopes in terms of like touristy stuff? Because I know it's hard as a tour musician, you kind of fly by and through towns and things. So is there
Yeah,
anything you're hoping to try and catch? Because I know you're doing like France and Spain and you come into the UK.
yeah, yeah, man. We definitely want to do all the touristy stuff we can because it's yeah, we don't get a lot of time to see cool stuff. We always joke around that you get to see a gas station bathroom in every town. You're just
Yeah.
seeing gas stations and green rooms, and so I want to see. I would love to go through, Paris, see the Eiffel Tower. Um, there's a bunch of stuff in England that I want to check out. Jody's already got kind of a list of things that we wanted to try to do. Uh, but yeah, if there's any time, I definitely want to check out all the scenery we can.
Mm.
I would love to do some fishing while I'm over there in Europe because my birthday is on August 5th. I think we'll be in Spain. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
cool.
And so I'm gonna see if I might be able to do some Spanish fishing if we can.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I was saying to Josh, who's obviously opening for you guys
Oh,
on the
I
UK
lost
tour.
audio on
Oh,
you.
hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Now I can. There we go.
Cool. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, I was speaking to Josh, who's playing with you guys in the UK, and it would be almost criminal to not be able to get some rods and be able to fish because Wales is gorgeous and it's right next to
Oh
a
yeah.
coast. Birkenhead's right next to the River Mersey, so hopefully
Wow.
we can arrange something to get some fishing done at some point.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I hear they like to carp fish
Yeah,
in England. People do a lot of carp fishing, so yeah, that
yeah.
would be great. I'm really thankful to Josh too for opening those shows, and he's going to be kind of driving us because I'm not 100% sure I can drive on the other side of the street. I got to watch him do that a little bit
Yeah.
first. But
It definitely takes some getting used to. But with fishing and stuff, I was just gonna say, weirdly, I got a message off my wife's uncle and he was like, what type of fish is this? And someone had released a goldfish into the local pond that he fishes out of, and it had grown to fucking huge proportions, and he didn't believe.
oh
He was like, this has to be a mutated carp or something. I was like, no, it's a goldfish. But with fishing, where did you first kind of fall in love with it? Was that something as well through your dad or growing up, or was it something that you kind of came to later in life?
Kind of both, man. I started when I was a kid. Um, my dad wasn't a big fisherman or anything,
Mm.
but he would take us once in a while to this local lake that we had called Loch Lomond,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, just like Scotland. There's a
Mm.
ton of Scottish history in the
Mm.
place that I grew up. It's actually called Ben Lomond, California, and so we would go to Loch Lomond. We would fish there once in a while, and I remember as a kid catching some little bluegill and loving it. Being really
Yeah.
excited, and then kind of grew up. Didn't really do a whole lot of it, but just since 2020, really, when everything kind of happened and
Mm.
we had this downtime to kind of relax, or not relax. We made a record, but
Yeah.
we weren't on the road, so I had a little more time to go, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get back into fishing, and it's been an obsession ever since. So
Yeah.
haven't quit it.
Yeah. No, it's such an emotive thing, I think, because a lot of people over here, my granddad did it, my dad did it, so I grew up on it, and I remember. I don't know what it's like in the US, but over here you need like a license to fish lakes and rivers, but open seas kind of anyone's game. So I just remember, whatever the weather, just huddled kind of in a car, half parked up a curb, while they're like
Oh
fishing into
yeah,
the sea and stuff. But it's such a connected thing, I think, fishing. And that's one of the
it
kind
is.
of niche things I see about kind of some of your fans is how kind of linked together it is with, country music and fishing. And people have like those two passions. It's been a really wholesome thing to see so many people kind of connect with you through it.
I agree, man. It really has been cool, and it is. You connect yourself to nature when you're out and you're doing something like fishing or hunting
Mm.
or even hiking or swimming. Like literally any time that you're out in the sunshine and you're getting outside, I think it kind of humbles you, and it grounds you to what really matters. And I always tell people that we've got the best fans in country music because they're some of the most down to earth, kind people that come to these shows. And people are sending me pictures of fish they've caught and stuff like that. And I do think it goes hand to hand. Those types of people.
Yeah.
Um, it's a grounding thing, man. I love it.
I was just about to ask how many fishing posts do you get sent or tagged in a day?
Oh, a day. I mean, shoot, I'd say like a week. In a week, I get like at least a couple. I'll get a couple of those. I love to see them. I always repost them.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. And with like obviously coming over to the UK, hopefully you'll get to do that. But with kind of fishing in general, is there any kind of bucket list goals you want to do? I remember I always talk to my dad about hopefully one day kind of doing the heavy duty stuff off a boat with like swordfish and things. Do you have any like
Oh yeah,
wild like bucket list goals of those?
yeah, definitely, man. I achieved one of those a while back. I got to go fish for yellowfin tuna,
Nice.
and we caught some big tuna, and that was I've never had something fight so hard. It was pretty incredible. Um, but yeah, I would like to catch Wells catfish.
Hmm.
I've heard that those are in Europe and they grow to be like the size of cars, pretty much. They're huge.
Hmm.
So there's a bee there. Uh, yeah, I'd like to do that a lot. I love fly fishing, so I'd like to go fly fishing. At some different places in the U.S.
Hmm.
You know, Colorado, Montana, places like that.
No, that's awesome. And
About it. Also, I'd love to catch a 20-pound bass. That's another big, that's another big goal. But all in time.
yeah, and hopefully if you come back to the UK for a longer stretch, you can do some fly fishing and stuff up in Scotland because that's gorgeous as well.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know they did that. That's awesome.
Mm. Yeah, but with going back to tour and stuff, again you mentioned it before, but with Dennis Quaid coming out, how did that? Did he just show up at a show, or did he connect beforehand, or?
Yeah, so Dennis, I guess, was friends with Layla. Layla Tucker, who's opening.
Mm.
Her mom is Tanya Tucker,
Mm.
and so I guess her and Tanya were friends with Dennis because he was kind of getting into music and making his own music, and they had connected and been family friends for a while. So I guess he was in town for something, and he came with a friend of his to the show to kind of say hey to everybody, watch the
Mm.
show, and then we were getting ready to go on stage, and my tour manager texted me, and he was like, "Hey, you never believe it, Dennis Quaid just walked in." I was like, "No shit, that's crazy." And so I'm about to round the corner to go onto the stage, and right in front of me, Dennis walks in, and I grew up watching, all the movies that he
Mm.
was in. So it's a weird thing. You get almost kind of starstruck
Yeah.
for a second, but he was a nice guy, and he enjoyed our set. He was watching it the whole time, and it's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. No, that's like one of the incredible things about music is it's just, no matter who you are, no matter what your status is, everyone enjoys music, and it's incredible to see, it just become like a great equalizer almost for like anyone to go and enjoy a live show.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's a very human thing, to enjoy music.
Mm. And going back to Live at the Catalyst, you said obviously you did like 25 songs. Was it hard when you were like doing the selection process to kind of capture, the three albums you've done since 2018 and get a good mix of those? Or was it kind of with Rolling On being the latest album, you wanted to kind of showcase those in the live sets more? Or what was the kind of process, even in a live show, making sure you kind of hit the albums and showcasing the songs from your career for the last like few years?
Yeah, that we always try to kind of throw an equal mix of the first record, Rolling On and Beyond These Walls,
Hmm.
and to kind of mix those together. And obviously, we try to play more songs off of the newest records,
Hmm.
just because that's what we're out there promoting. Uh, but it's hard because we don't always get to play all the songs, and there's always somebody who's like, "Hey, I wanted to hear St. Clair's Retreat or
Hmm.
Coming Down Again." It's like, "Oh, we didn't play that one." So I kind of take those things to heart and keep them in my
Hmm.
head, and try to incorporate them on the next time around.
Hmm.
With the live record, I sat for a long time and just kind of worked out every song on the set, which song ended in the same key as the
Hmm.
song it would go into, so that it would blend.
Hmm.
And we put an enormous amount of time and rehearsal time into trying to get that show to be just tip top,
Hmm.
as good as it can be.
Awesome. And with obviously all you guys are on fucking fire in on this record and live. How much rehearsal goes into it? Like a live show for when you're about to go on tour. How often or when do you start rehearsing before you go on tour?
Usually, usually when we're on the road throughout the year, we kind of start it out and we'll do, I guess, maybe about a month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks before we hit the road. We'll really start hitting the rehearsals hard
Hmm.
and making sure that everything's dialed and kind of working out all the kinks. But throughout the year, things kind of evolve and
Hmm.
change, just because we're playing so much that you end up kind of rehearsing every night on the road.
Yeah.
And during sound check, before the show, you're able to kind of, throw in new songs, work
Hmm.
things out. Uh, so I think by that point that we made the live record, things had already shifted around a little bit, to
Hmm.
make things more comfortable and more seamless.
No, cool. And with kind of, are you working on new music now? Are you putting new songs into sets?
We definitely are working on new music, and I hope to get into the studio at some point this year or early next. But we're kind of saving those songs. I've got
Hmm.
I've got a new record's worth of songs to record, but I like to wait until they're recorded and out there
Yeah.
before we play them, just so that people can really enjoy them. The way we are meant to have them
Hmm.
heard.
Yeah. And with Jody, she's a huge part in kind of co-writing, playing alongside you, tour manager and all things like that. With, you know, writing a song, when do you kind of take it to her or show it to her, or is it just you're humming around the house or in the van and, it kind of collaborates organically from there?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've kind of done it all of those ways that you described. It's been over the years. It's kind of been an evolving thing.
Mm.
when Jody and I first got together, we kind of both connected on our love for country music and just for music in general.
Mm,
She also loved punk rock and rock and roll and blues and a lot of the same stuff that I liked. And so we would just go on, we would drive, go on road trips or camping trips or whatever, like, people when they first get together do.
mm,
And we would just write in the car or in the van. We would just write quite a bit, like her ideas and her songs that she had started. I would read through and then be like, oh, that's a great idea. And we'd kind of collaborate
mm,
that way and vice versa. And nowadays we're on the road so much that it's kind of hard to write on the road. But when we get home, that's usually when all the flood of inspiration kind of comes. And
mm.
I'll just kind of, if she's doing something else, I'll call her into the room and be like, hey, I've got this idea here. She's really quick to be able to collaborate. She's a great songwriter and has really good
Mm.
sensibility.
No, awesome. And when and how did you guys meet?
We met at a place called Bandit Town in California. It's up in the mountains, and Whitey Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Whitey Morgan and his gal Jen. It's their place that they owned, and they do
Mm.
shows and events up there over the years. So I was playing up there at Bandit Town, and Jody was tattooing because she used to be a tattoo artist for a lot of years, and we met up there. I saw her, and I was like, I want to get to know her.
Mm.
And so I went up and I got tattooed by her, and that's kind of the rest is history.
That,
We just hit it off.
that's awesome. What was the tattoo?
I'll show you. It's this one right here. It's a little rooster.
Oh,
You see?
amazing. Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, she did the little rooster.
Yeah. Right on. And when kind of, because obviously I've been dealing with it to book these shows, when did she kind of take over that role as well? Because I feel, in life and in music, you can only really trust people as far as you can throw them. So to have
Yeah,
this kind of partnership, it just kind of makes sense for it to become not necessarily all encompassing, but you're not going to trust anyone else more to be able to handle your best kind of interests. And so when did Jody kind of take over those responsibilities and things?
yeah. Jody, she kind of took things over around, really around 2018, 19. Um, Jody had been helping, kind of from the time we got together, even 2017. But she officially, I think, started taking over on a lot of that stuff like management,
Mm,
2018. And, Jody and I were screen printing our own shirts, staying up all night to make sure they were dry in time
mm,
for the show the next day. And Jody just works her butt off all the time, even still today. I mean, the workload has gotten more and more and more the more success we've got. And luckily now, she's been able to find, we have a good booking agent. His name's Josh. He
mm,
helps out a lot. And we've had other help over the years. But yeah, Jody is the motor under the hood
mm.
of Jesse Daniel that kind of keeps everything running. And she's got one of the strongest work ethics out of anybody I've ever met. She doesn't quit. So uh, you said it best, man. As far as you can't trust anybody. As far as you can throw them, it really is a blessing to have somebody who cares and loves you, that you also work with. Because yeah, nobody's going to promote you better than yourself or,
No.
your own family. So we just try to keep our circle small and just work it that way, kind of organically.
No, definitely. And I love that it's, obviously coming from punk and being influenced by that, the
Mm-hmm.
DIY ethos is so tied to punk music and it's so easily translatable to, any type of music, any type of country from screen printing to how you promote yourself. It's really
Oh,
cool
yeah.
to see those kind of lessons taken away and put into different genres like you guys are doing.
I agree. Yeah, it definitely is. That's what we've done since day one with our label, Die True Records. I mean, like I said, it started with us just screen printing shirts in our house, and now it's grown into the label that we put all our music out, and it's a business that we're able to make a living
Mm.
off of, and I'm very, very thankful for that we're able to play music and uh, pay the bills, keep on making records.
With Die True Records, what was the kind of catalyst behind that? Obviously, you've talked about like this DIY punk ethic. Was that the same thing? Because I know a lot of artists starting out, they kind of have this dream of record labels coming in, saving them, and kind of doing all the work for them.
Yep.
But obviously you've started your own label to bring your own music out. What was the kind of decision to do that? Was it, not even entertaining labels and things and just going, it needs to be mine?
I think, yeah, like what was the thought process with that?
Mm, yeah.
Man, from the beginning, that we were definitely those people that we kind of had the idea of, I hope a label comes to, I hope a label comes to our rescue,
Mm,
and helps us out with like getting our records out and everything. But we never, uh, sorry, my cat is here to say hello. This is Tater.
awesome.
But yeah, from the beginning, I mean, we always wanted a label, to pick us up and to do
Mm,
that, especially starting out because you're kind of naive and you have this idea that they are going to save you and
yeah.
help you out with all that stuff. But kind of as we progressed and learned more about the industry, I kind of learned that the traditional format of a label who's like, all right, kid, here's your big chance, here's a check for
Mm,
$1 million and this and that. It's like those days are kind of long over,
yeah.
and the deals that they are making now are either really bad for the artists, where you're signing away all your masters,
Yeah.
you don't barely own anything that you do, uh, or people are just remaining independent. But the good thing about now is there's a lot of guys out there that are absolutely killing it, that have kind of helped to reestablish this, like you said, like a DIY
Yeah.
kind of ethos that guys like Sturgill Simpson. I
Mm,
remember when he put out his first two records, those were huge. Those were just very inspirational records, and to me, because here's this guy, he doesn't have a label, he's just doing it with a distribution.
yeah.
That's it, and he's having this success in the underground country realm. So I've kind of taken inspiration from guys like that. Uh, BJ Barham from
Yeah.
American Aquarium. He's a friend of mine, and he's given me some solid advice as far as what to do and not to do, because he's done everything
Mm,
totally independent,
yeah.
and he's making a good living doing it. And so, um, I think these days that's kind of the goal, is just to be able to keep building while doing it 100%, independent, and retaining all of the rights to our songs. I don't want anybody to ever tell me what kind of hat to wear, what, that's, we could never, we're too stubborn for that. So it's the way we got to do it.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that's the thing to do. But with kind of your label, is it distribution is the thing that you kind of get outside help? Because I remember I pre-ordered, which
Yeah.
kind of blew my mind. I pre-ordered your record through my local record shop in Liverpool, which, to have an independent label and an independent record be able to be bought on the other side of the world, it's a
Oh, yeah.
fucking incredibly beautiful thing. Is distribution one of the things you get kind of help with via another service or something?
Yeah, yeah, we do. So that's the distribution we've done through on the last, well, I should say, Rolling On and Beyond These Walls. We've done distribution through Soundly Music,
Mm,
and they're kind of similar to somebody like 30
mm,
Tigers, who they're a label, but they're a distribution
yeah.
label. So um, those companies are, really all you need as far as that goes, and they've helped us with the distribution and getting those records out to places like the UK and
Mm,
all over the world. And as an artist, that's all you really want. If you're already doing everything else yourself and
yeah.
you're making your way with it, um, you just kind of need somebody to get it out there and
Yeah.
get it out to those record shops. And so, they've helped us with that. And then the Die True is just kind of Jody and I, um, basically working, uh, you know, on everything from design to packaging the record
Mm.
to shipping. Jody does all the shipping, still, which is a pretty crazy task because we have a
Mm.
lot of orders that come in. But she handles all the kind of day-to-day label stuff.
No, that's awesome. I saw you did like two recent t-shirt designs that are absolutely killer with kind of how you envision designs and things. Do you have not necessarily any influences, but is there any kind of art styles and things that you love? Because you have such a great like neo-traditional style things, which I assume might be because of Jody's like kind of tattooing background and a mutual
Mm-hmm.
love there.
Yeah, definitely. Jody is just such a good artist in general that she has a really clear vision of like what's cool, to her, and
Mm.
what she doesn't think is necessarily cool. And um, she's been able to kind of steer the ship as far as like what the designs look like, and
Mm.
even the other artists who've designed stuff. A lot of people like myself, I'm not really artistically talented in that way, with visual
Mm.
art. So I might email somebody to make me a shirt, and then the first draft, I'd be like, all right, that looks good, but she knows exactly what she wants. So
Yeah.
she's able to be like, hey, can we try a different color gradient or this or that? And, whether it's her making the designs herself or kind of showing somebody else how to do it, she's a pretty masterful artist.
Mm. Oh, that's so cool. And again, it must be good to be able to obviously have someone who knows you so well be involved in not just like the songwriting process, but kind of everything to have that kind of artistic eye to create that kind of
Mm-hmm.
follow through vision must just be so cool.
It is, man. I'm very thankful for it. Jody and I are just a good team. We kind of work well together, and it's helped. I love the merch that we've made, and both of our idea with music and with merch, and like literally everything we put out. It's like I don't want to do anything that I wouldn't wear myself,
Yeah.
or or I don't want to make music that I wouldn't listen to myself, the
Mm.
music that I'd want to hear. Uh, so that we just try to keep doing that, and that's kind of our mantra.
No, right on. Do you have any designs in like the times you've been kind of putting out t-shirts and merch? Are there any like top three designs that you distinctly remember being like, this is cool as fuck?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd say one of my favorites was Jody drew an eagle tee that we had last year, and I think the year before,
Mm.
and she hand drew this eagle, and then we put it on a shirt, and it was just beautiful, really intricate and cool, and people loved that shirt, and that was one of my favorites. I really love the truck tee that we just put out with
Yeah.
the got another eagle on it and the old semi truck. Um, I love that style of t-shirt. And then back in the day, the guy who designed the record, uh, Matt Sabbath,
Mm.
he did. He's actually from England, I think London. Pretty sure he designed the self-titled artwork for that
Mm.
record,
Oh,
and
cool.
we put that on a shirt, and that remains one of my favorite pieces of art just because it's so nostalgic. It was
Yeah.
kind of our first take into country music, and so that'll always be one of my favorites.
No, that's so cool. And with kind of that being your first take into country music, was there any, when you were creating that album, was there any kind of trepidation or worry about how you thought it might be received? Because you've got such a strong kind of identity and you're so set in who you are. You obviously, it's my kind of country music. That's, what you do. Was there any worry about people not getting it necessarily or, not being understood as what you wanted it to be?
Oh, definitely. I think that's like something that artists or musicians or whoever, you always kind of wonder if um are people going to like this? That's one of those almost self-doubt thoughts
Yeah.
that will creep in once in a while. And, that's gotten less and less for me over the years, like as I've gotten more comfortable. But I
Mm.
remember back then it was a really vulnerable, feeling thing to put out a record. And, all I knew was that, we had done all we could do with that record, and we had
Mm.
made it to the best of my ability at the time, with it being my first solo self-titled record I'd ever made. And I just remember sending it out to everybody and being like, all right, let's hope everybody likes it. But yeah, that's definitely been a learned thing, I think, over the years, that I've gotten more and more confident in what we're doing and
Yeah.
more of a sense of identity.
And because even in that album came out in 2018, it's been 5 years now. Even in that 5 years, it seems the country scene in the US and internationally has really solidified into a new beast compared to what it was 10 or 12 years ago.
I
It
know.
seems you were kind of ahead of the curve on what that wave was about to be. So it must feel almost like vindicated to see what's coming out now. And,
Hmm.
where you are with obviously Live at the Catalyst being almost like a victory lap of support. Was it interesting to see that grow in the last 5 years?
Man, it has been really cool to see that grow, just because I totally agree with you. I feel like the whole kind of worldwide scene and realm of country music right now is in such a better place, I think, than it was 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago.
Mm,
Like, there was a lot of good stuff coming out 10 years ago. Um, but it was definitely more underground. And that's when guys like Sturgill,
yeah.
uh, and, Chris Stapleton, guys who at the time were not insanely successful, they had some success, but when that stuff really started to blow up, I think it just kind of shook everything up
Yeah.
and made way for guys like Tyler Childers, and all of these, like, new artists. Even though they've been doing it a long time, um, it kind of paved the way for that to happen. And yeah, I feel like we just started at a really cool time, putting that record out, because I've got to see it kind of grow and see it go from people listening to just straight pop music, pop country
Yeah.
music. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's like a lot of people like it. Uh, to listening to Tyler Childers at the bar,
Yeah.
now, like, you go into a bar and every kid, from the age of 18 to 65-year-old man, people all know White House Road.
Yeah.
And that's a traditional sounding country song. It sounds like a Waylon tune, and
Mm,
that's, to me, that is a victory right there. Just to be a part of this time in country music with guys like him and all the other great artists.
mm.
Sorry for the long-winded answer. It's just,
No.
yeah, something I'm totally
Yeah.
passionate about. I love being a part of this time right now in
Yeah.
country.
Yeah. No, that's exactly how I feel, because I remember it was maybe 2015, 2016, and I was in a job I fucking hated. And I was sat on my lunch break, like scrolling through social media, and I found, like, I think it was like a Rolling Stone article, and it
Yeah,
was a profile on Chris Stapleton, Sturgill Simpson, and Jason Isbell
Jason
as
Isbell.
like,
I read. Man, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
But did you read? I assume did you see that article as well? I think maybe it was 8 years ago now.
Man, that is so crazy that you say that, because I was working a job that I absolutely hated. And I was a cashier at a grocery store. And I remember at that time I was doing that. And I remember they had a little, rack of magazines of Rolling Stones. And I remember flipping through it and seeing, that article and being like, wow, this is cool. Because at that point I had already been listening to some of that, those newer
Yeah.
guys, uh, or, not newer guys. Again, they've been doing it a
Yeah.
long time. This was the first I was hearing of them. And it was hugely inspiring, man. Yeah, it was like, wow, here's these dudes making it into Rolling Stone. That was the
Yeah.
magazine, right? Rolling Stone.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was too. But yeah, that's so funny, man. Same thing, working a dead end job, and I was like, man, there's hope. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. But I remember I'd known about Stapleton because of the Steel Drivers, but I hadn't heard
Yeah,
Isbell or Sturgill before that. And I remember it was a complete game changer. I was like, I'm gonna start listening to these people. I'm gonna pick up a guitar and start doing it my fucking self. And it's just been
Yeah,
interesting in like that the 8 years since that article, which I might start asking people how many people read that as well while they were sitting in a dead end job. To see
yeah,
from there to now has just been an incredible change in the scene.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, to kind of tie it all in, like there were those guys who kind of paved the way for that. Then there's like the wave of guys like Tyler Childers who were out there shortly thereafter having just massive records. Uh, and it's different from, like you said, even 5 years ago, because I feel like now to have success, depending on what you think, success is to you, to me, success is like if we're selling out rooms, consistently, if we're having people come out to these shows and buying records and singing the words to the
Yeah.
songs, and it keeps getting better, that's success to me.
Mm,
Um, but I think it's possible. That success is possible because of the kind of renaissance that
yeah.
happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's just been kind of building. And I think things are coming to a head now where I hope it just keeps getting cooler. We're just
Yeah.
going to keep putting out good country music and hopefully it gets more popular. And yeah, proud to contribute to it.
Yeah, man. Well, I think a sold out London show a tribute like is the proof in the pudding of it being pretty fucking cool. Because I know a lot of people are excited to see you over in the UK.
Oh, I can't wait, man. That's going to be so fun.
And there we have it. That's episode 69 of the Rogue Country podcast in the bag. Thank you so much for listening. Please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you go see Jesse Daniel on his first ever UK tour in August. It is going to be phenomenal. Get your tickets through our link tree. And yeah, in the meantime, keep doing the things you love, keep supporting the things you love. Peace.